So today we're going to talk about a man I've wanted to talk about with y'all for a hot minute now. He's been breaking hearts and barriers in and out of Hollywood for decades. He is the one and only Blair Underwood. Now, I know when most folks hear his name, they think smooth, classy, that fine black man who always plays the polished professional or the mysterious love interest. But let me tell you, Blair Underwood's story runs a whole lot deeper than just being the handsome guy on your screen. Behind that $1 million smile is a journey full of plot twists, quiet struggles, scandals, and moves that didn't always make headlines but definitely shaped the game. And trust me, you're gonna want to tune in because do I have some tea for you. And if you want to sip, you've got to stick with me the entire way or else you miss it. He's the kind of actor who never had to do too much to make you stop and pay attention. But how did he manage to stay relevant for so long in an industry that chews people up and spits them out every day? What did he endure behind the scenes? And what's really up with his love life? Because let's just say the streets have talked. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the rise, shine, and low-key tea of Blair Underwood. Blair Irwin Underwood was born on August 25, 1964 in Tacoma, Washington. But let's keep it real, this man was raised everywhere. He grew up in a military family, which basically meant packing up and starting over was just part of his life. His dad, Frank Underwood Sr., was a U.S. Army colonel. He was an Army Ranger and paratrooper who was actually wounded in the Vietnam War. He was strict, structured, and all about discipline. His mom, Marilyn, was a homemaker and was the heart of the household. She was all about love, support, and big dreams for her kids. She saw Blair's creative spark early on, and she nurtured that. So growing up, Blair got that balance of tough love from pops and loving encouragement from his mom. And when I say he moved all over, I meant it. We're talking Germany, Kansas, Virginia. His passport was getting stamped before he even hit high school. And while that kind of upbringing can be tough, Blair has said in interviews that it helped shape him into the man he is today. He had to learn how to blend in, how to pick up on people's energy, and how to carry himself in any room, anywhere. His parents taught him how to be a man, and he said that he learned a lot from watching them growing up. Many years later, his mother became ill with multiple sclerosis, and his dad, the once strict military man, became her loving full-time caretaker. He's talked about how moving so much made him an observer. He became that quiet kid who peeped everything: body language, tone, vibe, all the stuff that actors study later on. Blair was soaking it in naturally from day one, and that laid the foundation for the type of performer he'd become eventually. Nuanced, thoughtful, and always locked in. Now, growing up, even with the structure of a military home, Blair always had this creative spark. He was into sports, but he also had a big imagination. He was the kind of kid who could flip from football to reading poetry without skipping a beat. And while some might have tried to box him in, his mom wasn't having that. She encouraged him to explore whatever fed his soul. He eventually landed at Petersburg High School in Virginia, and that's where the acting bug really bit him for real. He started doing school plays and quickly realized how much he liked doing it. He had a gift, and people started taking notice. But Blair didn't stop there. He wanted to go deeper with it. So after high school, he set his sights on Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. If you know that school is one of the top acting schools in the country, and he didn't just get in, he thrived there, putting in the work to improve his skills as an actor. He's also an honorary member of their Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. During his time there, things really started clicking for him. He saw that acting wasn't just a passion, that it was an actual career path, and that gave him the confidence to hit Hollywood and show what he was made of. Blair made his big break in the 80s, and baby, when he stepped onto the scene, he came in smooth and never let up. He had that look and energy that made casting directors take notice. And his first major TV appearance was on The Cosby Show back in 1985. At the time, you know that everyone and their mama was tuning in every week for that show. It was one of the biggest shows of that era, and he slid right on in there. It wasn't a huge role, but it was the kind of moment that gets your name out there. It got his foot in the door, and he certainly left an impression. But his real breakout moment came 2 years later when he landed the role of Jonathan Rollins, a young hotshot lawyer on the NBC series LA Law. Now, that was the real game changer. He came in as this young, brilliant black lawyer who was educated, articulate, ambitious, but still had this cool edge to him. And let's be honest, that was rare to see on TV back then. He wasn't playing some kind of sidekick. He wasn't comic relief. He was front and center, holding his own with the heavy hitters. And man, the camera loved him. Blair didn't just play the role, he embodied it. Jonathan Rollins became a symbol of black excellence on screen. America wasn't used to seeing that kind of confident, complex, black male character. But Blair made it look easy, and that resonated with a lot of people. He held that role down for 7 solid seasons, which is basically a lifetime in Hollywood. And during that run, he gained a lot of respect in the industry. He even snagged a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor, the type of validation that a lot of actors only dream of. And he never allowed himself to be boxed in. While some actors fall off after one big show, he stayed booked and busy. You saw him popping up in Set It Off as that fine, shady banker who had Jada Pinkett's character all the way in her feelings. Then in Medea's Family Reunion, he flipped the script, playing this loving, respectful man that every woman was rooting for. He knew how to play it smooth, messy, soft, strong. Whatever the scene needed, that's what he gave. He appeared on season 6 of Sex and the City as Dr. Robert Leeds, and funny enough, he's spoken a bit about this particular role, revealing that the first time he was offered the chance to appear on the show, he turned him down. And you may ask, now why would he do something like that? Well, he wasn't too happy about how they wanted to portray his character. He was Miranda's love interest that season, but when he was first offered the role, he was turned off by the fact that it was all about how Samantha, played by Kim Cattrall, was just fascinated by the idea of dating a black man and wanted to know if the rumors about what black men were slanging was true. So he just told them, you know what, thanks, but no thanks, because he did not want to play a character based just on race and curiosity about the anatomy of black men. About a year later, they reached out to him again, and he stood on business. They told him that they weren't even gonna mention race this time around. They only brought it up once to explain that Miranda was dating a black doctor, but the whole fetishization arc was gone. And that's something he says he has been consistent about his whole career. He didn't want to just be seen as the black guy. He wasn't gonna allow himself to be stereotyped or typecast. He thought a lot about how that would continue to reflect on the community, and he didn't want to contribute to it in this particular way. He's really kept booked and busy. Let's not forget G, Rules of Engagement, Quantico, and most recently Self-Made on Netflix. Like, this man has never really left our screens. He just moves with a kind of quiet power. You might not hear his name in headlines every single day, but you blink and boom, he's on your screen again, stealing the scene with that calm confidence that has become his signature. He gave Black Hollywood one of his smoothest, smartest leading men, and he's done all that without having to scream for attention. All right, now let's get into his private life, because listen, behind all of that smooth charm and the polished red carpet presence, things got real messy, and I know it had a lot of people talking. So Blair was married to his college sweetheart Desiree DaCosta for over 25 years. 25 years in Hollywood is basically forever. They had 3 kids together, and for the longest time they were considered one of those couples people saw as black love goals. They always looked solid at events, and people believed they might actually go the distance after being together for such a long time. I don't think anyone saw it coming, because everything they hit us with a joint statement announcing their divorce. Just like that, out of the blue. It was super respectful and classy. No drama, no shade. They were all like, we still have love for each other. But everybody reading between the lines was like, hold up, what really went down? Because after 2.5 decades, you don't just casually walk away unless something shifted behind the scenes in a major way. Now, rumors started flying. Some folks speculated about growing apart, and then boom. Not long after the divorce, Blair popped right back out with a new lady, but not just any lady. This was a woman he'd known since way back in the day, and I'm talking like high school when he was just 16 years old. Her name is Josie Hart. He said she's been his ride or die and best friend for 40 years. Now, we're not throwing shade, but the timing had the streets buzzing. Like, were they just friends all those years, or did Blair keep Josie tucked in the friend zone until the timing was right? Because him going from longtime husband to married again in less than 2 years is sus as hell. It gave somebody been waiting in the wings type of vibes. Some folks speculated that maybe he and Desiree had been growing apart for a while. You know, the kids get older, life shifts, the Hollywood grind doesn't slow down. But that new marriage came in quick, and people couldn't help but wonder if Blair had a plan B quietly marinating the whole time. And let's be real, calling Josie his ride or die after a 40-year friendship, that's a big statement, because if she's your ride or die, then what was your wife doing that whole time, sir? Honestly, it pisses me off a little. It's better he had just kept quiet about it and did his thing instead of coming out singing her praises once they could publicly be together, because it just didn't look good at all. After over 25 years with Desiree, now it's just looking like he wasted her best years. And now he's finally able to be with the woman he always wanted to be with. Imagine being with someone for so long, loving on him and thinking this is it for you, when all this time he's been dreaming about being with the best friend he probably told you not to worry about. He proposed about a year after they got divorced, and they got married the following year. It's crazy to me how someone can be in a whole relationship, bring kids into the equation for so long with his obvious second choice, because that's what it's looking like. And if that's the case, then him and Josie should have made it happen back in the day instead of marrying other people and wasting their respective exes' time. Because when you hear him talk about Josie and how long he has felt this way about her, which allegedly started during his marriage, you could only speculate that he settled, and so did she. But hey, looks like it worked out for them. Their families seem to be supportive, so I don't know how they feel about it personally, but if anyone feels some type of way about it, they've kept quiet. But that's not all, folks, because there were more explosive rumors flying around on Instagram about his alleged dealings back in the day with the legendary Aretha Franklin. You heard right. A blogger by the name of Artemis Gordon claims that Aretha kept a rotation of young, fine black men on her roster, and that Blair Underwood was one of those men. Now, he keeps his identity a secret, and for good reason, because he always brings piping hot tea. But if he is to be believed, Blair was allegedly a sugar baby in his early years when he was also working as a model. He even said that Blair got into it with Keith Washington because he also got involved with Aretha and he wasn't about to share her goodies. So they were allegedly out here almost tussling about good old Aretha and her goodies. This didn't make any major headlines, so you can sip and make of it what you will. But if he was really a sugar baby, I'd love that for him. Now, as far as scandals go, Blair's kept it surprisingly clean for a man who's been famous for decades. But then again, a lot of his career took place in a time when there were no social media and camera phones. So maybe he just got lucky. To his credit, there were no big public feuds, no messy arrests, no wild TMZ moments, no viral side chick exposés. But don't get it twisted, he's not soft. There have been whispers about him clashing with producers and not backing down when he felt disrespected. And obviously, it has mostly worked out for him because he's still standing in this industry. Today, Blair Underwood is still very much active in the game, but he's playing it on his own terms. And I think he's earned it. He's been leaning more into a behind-the-scenes role. He's done some directing, producing, and he hasn't faded into the background. He's even doing Broadway. After so long in the industry, he's able to pick projects with purpose, and that's gold for a lot of actors. He starred in the Broadway revival of A Soldier's Play, and he ate it up. Critics loved his magnetic performance, and let's be real, it is such a treat seeing him command a stage live. He's shown that he's not just a TV or movie guy, that he is versatile and he can practically do it all. Off screen, he's big on wellness, family, and staying grounded. You're more likely to catch him talking about fatherhood or mentoring young actors than chasing headlines. He doesn't feel the need to be talked about to stay relevant because he still has that quiet staying power. And honestly, that's the real flex. He's that rare breed who stayed true to himself, played the long game, and never let the spotlight dim his light. Yeah, he's had ups and downs, maybe even a little behind the scenes drama, as you have heard, but through it all, he stayed focused, and that has kept him booked. He has clearly aged gracefully. Anyone with eyes can see that. And even though his recent shenanigans kinda got the streets talking, his legacy's already solid. But who knows? He might still have a few surprises for us up his sleeve. So what do you guys think? Drop a comment down below. If you know you enjoyed listening, then show me some love and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe for regular updates. Until next time.